Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We're going to be talking about Yankee Candle First Gift of Christmas. Now, this is one of the new fragrances that is part of the brand's collaboration with the Polar Express. I purchased this candle approximately 2 weeks ago now, and I have some thoughts to share with you guys. As you guys all know, I tend to prefer a soy wax formula. The last time I purchased from Yankee Candle, I want to say was maybe last spring. So it's been a while since I have burned any of the Yankee candles, particularly this new like plant-based wax formula that they have. Apparently, Yankee has gone away from using paraffin wax. And so I just wanted to share with you guys some thoughts that I have. So this vessel that I am reviewing is one of their 3 wicks. I did purchase this candle, I want to say, on a day where they had this for $12.50. I believe that these 3 wicks typically retail around $26 or $27. You guys know you never have to pay full price for any candles, particularly with Yankee. They are oftentimes running coupon specials. We are now approaching the holidays, and you guys know all of these retailers are going to be running sales pretty much on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. So keep your eyes peeled if how this review goes, if it has you intrigued to purchase this candle. So let's go ahead and talk about the fragrance notes here. Top notes of bergamot, orange, coconut milk. Mid note, lily of the valley, caramel, brown sugar. Base note, sandalwood, vanilla, and musk. All right, you guys. So what's going on with this candle? What does my nose detect? Honestly, on cold sniff, I really, really liked this candle. I liked that it had a little bit of a gourmand element mixed with a slight perfuminess. Now, on the front of the label here, Yankee Candle does something very similar to Kringle Candle in that all of their top, middle, and bottom notes, they can really get into the weeds in terms of listing all of their fragrance notes, and it can leave you a little bit lost with what you should expect from the fragrance. I do like that they have started doing this thing where they're kind of like really narrowing it down to probably the main notes that you might pick up, which are brown sugar and sandalwood for this candle. And I am going to tell you guys that I feel like that's pretty accurate with what I am smelling in this candle. Now, what I will say is that the sandalwood note to me is definitely present in this fragrance. Truthfully, you guys, this is one that I like. I don't particularly love it. I do prefer to burn this with a tree scent, usually in the evenings. Something about this fragrance, it's not as gourmand as I think I was hoping it would be. Mainly seeing those mid notes of like caramel and brown sugar. Now, the one thing that I will say that I am happy about this is that oftentimes most brands, when they list a caramel note, the only exception really being Homeworks. Homeworks is one of the few brands that caramel I feel like is done pretty well. But even with them, I've had hit or miss experiences. Caramel can come across a little bit scorched to my nose, and I'm very happy to report that that is not what I detect in this fragrance at all. I definitely get the sweetness of maybe like of a brown sugar note. It's not as heavy as, say, a molasses note, but it is definitely brown sugar. That musky sandalwood in the base, though, definitely makes itself present, particularly the longer that you burn this candle, which makes sense, right? The base notes come out the longer that you burn a candle, and that is what I detect. As far as these top notes of bergamot, orange, and coconut milk, those might be there like very, very slight, but my nose does not detect anything citrusy at all in this candle, nor does it really detect anything floral, as that mid note of lily of the valley would have you thinking. Now, the only thing that I would say that I think possibly is either the musk note or it is that lily of the valley, is that when this candle is burning, there is a slight powderiness to this candle, but it's kind of hard for me to explain because the brown sugar note in here, how do I put this? This is kind of like a powdery gourmand. And it's not even like a gourmand, like anything's freshly baking. There's nothing about it that reminds me distinctly of food, excuse me. Um, it it's more so that it's the sandalwood musk note. There's something, oh, I'm having a hard time explaining this. Let me just go ahead and just give a fragrance comparison here. If you happen to have had, Kringle Candle had a Halloween release in part 1 of this year. It was Mummy Marshmallow. I feel like this fragrance kind of has some similarities to Mummy Marshmallow in that there is a gourmand aspect to it, but there's also kind of this like woodsy, slightly powdery thing going on. Now, I remember with that candle, I told people that when that candle was burning, the longer it burned, it started to smell almost like a freshly sharpened pencil, like kind of that like freshly, yeah, like you've when if you were a kid like me in the late 80s, early 90s, and you would go to the pencil sharpening station, in your classroom, that smell of like freshly sharpened pencils. I kind of get that, not to the extreme that I had it in Mummy Marshmallow, but there's something about that. There's something about Mummy Marshmallow that I'm being reminded of in this candle. And like I said, I think it's that kind of powdery, slightly perfumey sandalwood note that's mixing with the brown sugar here. Again, I like this candle. It's not a love for me. It's definitely one that I prefer more so in the evening. It's not going to be a repurchase for me. But if you happen to have liked Kringle Candle's Mummy Marshmallow, I think you're going to like that. But I do just want to say that if you go in store and you pick this one up and smell it on cold sniff, just be aware that the longer that this candle burns, there is a little bit more of like a powdery woody note that tends to come out with this candle upon burn. That's the best way I can describe it. Again, you guys all know describing fragrance is sometimes really difficult to do. But the good news is that, Yankee Candle still does have some stores where you can go in and pick this one up to give it a sniff. So let's go ahead and talk about the performance. You can see I've actually had this candle lit for about an hour and a half now. Nice deep wax pool. But what you're seeing here is that these wicks are a little bit interesting here on the 3 wicks. What I am finding is that you guys, if you saw my Yankee candle haul last week, you guys know that I purchased some 2-wick tumblers and then I purchased a couple of these 3 wicks. I do find that these 3-wick wicks do burn slower. They're not necessarily puny, although I will say the first burn of this candle, the other one that I am burning right now, I think it's the Train Car Carols. That one's doing the same thing. The first burn of these wicks were honestly really concerning with how puny the wicks were. I did actually end up extinguishing the wicks and dumping out a little bit of wax just to see if that would correct the situation. And I have found that the wicks have not been as puny since then, but just be aware on at least those 2 3 wicks, that has been the issue with the first burn. I did burn the frosted tracks last night and I didn't find that to be the case. I also don't trim my wicks before lighting. So at least, especially on the first burn, I just let it go. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. But again, you guys can see it's getting a deep wax pool. I'm not getting any kind of like burned or singe notes, but personally, I would like these wicks to burn with a little bit more intensity because I will say that I feel like right now it is affecting the strength and throw of this candle. This one for me is about a 6, I will say. It performs decently well in my closed concept bedrooms. But out here in the open concept, the fragrance, like I can sniff it and I'll smell it in the atmosphere here, but it doesn't really project quite well. It gets a little bit lost out in the open concept areas of my home. So for me personally, this fragrance is definitely one that I'm okay with burning in the bedrooms, honestly, because like I said, I feel like this one complements a tree fragrance. Like if you're burning a good tree scent as like an anchor fragrance in a more open concept area, this one would be a nice complementary scent. But I don't feel like this is a fragrance that is like the main fragrance for my home personally or for my fragrance preferences. So those are my thoughts on this one. Like I said, it's just about a medium in terms of strength and throw, and that has actually been burning it in a hurricane. I feel like if I burn it outside of a hurricane, strength and throw might be around like a 4.5, 5. It's just not really what I want it to be. It leans a little bit more low medium when it is outside of a hurricane. So I don't know, you guys. I feel like for $12.50, I'm not mad at it so far for the performance that I'm getting. Again, the wicks just seem to be not burning as hot as I think that they should be, but oh well, that is what it is. It is interesting because I do find that the 2 wick tumblers, the wicks are burning a little bit more strongly. So I don't know, just is probably just the choice in the wicks that they have here. So anyways, let me know in the comment section down below if you have purchased this candle recently. What has your burn experience been with it? We always like to hear other opinions. You guys are always so great about remaining respectful of myself and others within our community. So yeah, if you pick this one up, let us know what you're picking up on fragrance wise, as well as what your burn performance has been. So please hit thumbs up if you found this review helpful. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.